starting out, like just this idea of rest versus laziness. For many of us, many busy doctors, we have a hard time resting. And one of the reasons why is because we have that ever-growing to-do list. And when we try to rest, we have a hard time because we're so focused on all of the other tasks that we need to get done, like the charting, the emails, the projects, and the things on the home repair list, that it becomes challenging, right? And more importantly, we tell ourselves that we aren't working when we aren't working on this list. It means we are being lazy. And so what should be rest feels like laziness because there's this to-do list that's not getting done. And when it's not getting done, it causes anxiety and stress. And sort of, man, I'm being lazy right now. I should be working on X, Y, or Z instead of just enjoying the rest. And the reason this often happens is because we have created this narrative that rest itself is not productive. Now, I'm going to stop and say that again. So many of us believe that rest is not productive. And with this kind of view, when we aren't working on the to-do list, we're therefore being lazy. We're not being productive. And to be honest, this has been my narrative for a really long time. It's been really hard for me to rest. And yeah, I want to push back on this a little bit. Is that really true? Like when we aren't working on the list, are we really being lazy? When we aren't working on that list of things to do, is it really counterproductive? No, of course it's not. And think about it. We all know that when we truly rest, we actually get rejuvenated and energized to do even better work. If we take this concept to a full extreme, we know this is true. When we get full 8 hours of sleep, we're better able to attack the next day. And on the other end of the spectrum, if we don't get any sleep after a 24 or 30-hour call when we haven't slept at all, eventually you can't work at all. So we know that we need rest. It's good for us. In addition to this, if we're being honest, our moments of inspiration also come from rest. So not only is it rejuvenating and allows us to attack the next day, but it's those moments that when we are resting that produce inspiration in our life. If you don't take the time to think about where you're going and what your life is doing and where your next destination is going to be 5 months, 5 years, 50 years down the road, how can you possibly get there if you don't create that time to rest and to think about those things, right? That's why vacation is so important. That's why listening to music for me is so important. Like I love a good Ben Rector song, a ton of inspiration from that, right? Reading a good book. Like we're currently doing this episode right now. Like the inspiration from this episode came from 2 books that I'm reading, The Gap and the Gain, and I'm reading another one called Winning the War in Your Mind. And so, or having a good conversation with a friend, right? Like all of those things come when we're resting. Those moments of inspiration, right, that come from rest. These are the moments that life is made of, and it's the good stuff. It's the moments that inspire us to see that we are meant for so much more than just being productive, workaholic machines. It's about living your best life, living an abundant life, which means enjoying the relationships that have been placed in your life and enjoying the good things we have already accomplished and choosing to focus on what we have instead of what we want, on what we get to do instead of what we have to do. Start before you're ready. Start by starting. Start now.